Hello, everybody. It's different location after different location here. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Don't worry, I like freshening it up. I like moving around. I like telling you the news on the go and my thoughts on the go. Honestly, I've got about 3 different setups. We go outside. We've got something upstairs in the flat. We've got something downstairs in the flat. It's constant. But thank you for your constant support as well. Really, really appreciate all this good stuff. Your comments in the last video as well. Absolutely lovely. Love the engagement. Love the interaction. Love the thoughts. Strategical thoughts. You're an intelligent bunch. Make sure you're checking out all the merchandise. You can see it on my bonds, everybody. Well worth it. It's a cold, awful week at this moment in time. And is it going to be cold? Is it going to be awful on Sunday? I don't think so. It's going to be a sunny day. Maybe not forecasted as a sunny day, but hopefully a sunny day, metaphorically speaking, of course, for Leeds United. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know where you're sitting at Wembley, everybody. I'm jealous of all you folk. But if you can't make Wembley, join me on Sunday as I give you the pre, the post, and the even poster match reaction to Leeds United's win. Yes, everybody. Leeds United's win over Southampton. Thank you so much. So let's get in to your news today. We spoke about Archie Gray earlier on. We spoke about obviously Leeds United going in for a left-footed centre-back as well. We spoke about the Crystal Palace news, which I definitely advise you all to go and have a watch of if you're interested. Now, what we're going to be speaking about today, now, this is really interesting as well because it means we're speaking earlier about the Jordan Miles sort of shortlist and the plans he's going to have in action. Now, according to several reports over the last couple of days, James McAtee, Sheffield United loanee, parent club Manchester City, has been garnering interest, I should say, from teams in the Championship, the Premier League, and one of them is Leeds United. Apparently, Leeds are looking to be front runners. Apparently, they are front runners, I should say, for the signature of James McAtee. Now, this is interesting. This is really, really interesting. Would you take him in the Premier League as a signing? I definitely would. I think there's better out there. But if we're looking at an out-and-out number 10, 100%. I don't think McAtee would come to a Championship club. He's almost, it feels like, in that Phil Foden mold. Do you remember when we were actually after him? That did happen. Leeds inquired about Phil Foden about 4 or 5 years ago, and he got knocked back at the last minute by Guardiola. He wanted to keep him in. He wanted to, get him learning off David Silva at the time, and he didn't want him going out on loan. And it does almost feel like that in a sense with regards to James McAtee now in terms of his development. Guardiola, I think, is a little bit more interested in getting him out on loan, but he wants him now in the Premier League. He wants him in and around top operators, and they still do see a pathway for him at Manchester City. So it's comparative a little bit to Phil Foden, but they are willing for McAtee to go out and get a little bit more experience. But now it's turned from Championship experience, of which other clubs have been massively interested in him over the years, to now Premier League, and it's probably going to be level up Premier League as well. Obviously, it was Sheffield United. So if Leeds are to get back to the promised land, if Leeds are to get back to fantasy land in the Premier League, I think James McAtee will be a more than welcome addition to the Leeds United ranks. I think his balance is really nice. He's agile. I don't think he was involved in a good team, especially a good offensive team. I know they had Cameron Archer. I know they've had other operators going forward who have been decent, but I think Njayi up there with him. Obviously, they lost to Man City in the summer. Marseille in the summer would have been a lovely, lovely sort of partnership between him and McAtee, and maybe you would have seen a little bit more of a prosperous Sheffield United going forward. But as of right now, it's been really poor. It's been really lackluster. They've conceded the mass amount of goals, and going forward, they've been completely sort of just toothless, really. And I think the consistency has been impacted on James McAtee. But it's interesting. What do you guys think? Would you take McAtee in the Premier League? That's the conversation you'd have right now, because I think in the Championship, that's never, ever going to happen. But it's interesting how apparently Leeds are looking at it, and apparently they're also considering whether or not to do it on a permanent deal. Another really interesting one, because you're probably looking at 15 to 20 million. Would you rather get him on loan initially, then to look at a permanent deal, or have we seen enough of James McAtee in the top division? Because, I think we all look at that, and if it is a 20 million quid deal, there's certain other members of the Leeds United transfer list which will be, out of the equation. And one of those, in a lovely segue that I've done there, is Matt O'Reilly. Now, going back up to the Premier League, Matt O'Reilly, oh my God, Matt O'Reilly. Not only would it make Oscar into the most excited man on planet Earth and probably many other planets, but it will make me very excited as well. I absolutely love Matt O'Reilly. I think, from his MK Dons days when You saw him at that lowly level and he was just light years ahead of everybody else down there. I think now you've seen him really, really develop at Celtic. As I've mentioned previously on these videos, he's mentioned several times that, you know, the Premier League interests him. He's a massive lover and has been since he was a boy of the Premier League, obviously from coming overseas. And he would definitely look at that. Now, Leeds United are facing stiff competition, real stiff competition. If we are to go in for Matt O'Reilly, he is part of the shortlist. I think we're all very, very well aware of that. And apparently West Ham are now pushing for his signature. Now, it's going to be interesting with West Ham because the dominoes, I think, will have to fall maybe with a McAtee going to Manchester City. I think then Matt O'Reilly will probably see a little bit of a pathway for himself there. But what I do remember when Leeds were interested in him is there was a lot of rumours around the Celtic side of things that he wouldn't just come down to the Premier League to sit on the bench. It's not going to happen. He wants to be playing minutes. So if that is the case and he is to go to West Ham, he needs to be playing minutes. So if McAtee's there, obviously, you know, they've got a really decent midfield. They've got Edson Alvarez there as well. West Ham are a pretty stacked side and they probably should have done even better, really, you know, when you're looking at the calibre of their side, even though sometimes I think the fans' expectations at West Ham are a little bit unrealistic. It might be a little bit like Leeds in that sense, really. But I do think Matt O'Reilly, you know, we look at that Villa plan, don't we, in terms of their projection year on year on year and their development and their trajectory being a huge, you know, sort of consequence of their quality investment. And I think if Leeds were to get to the Premier League, which I do think we will, I think someone like Matt O'Reilly is a top addition. And for a rumoured 15 to 20 million quid, that'd be a really, really good signing for Leeds United. And they might have the advantage because obviously McAtee might not leave West Ham United, which might impact the transfer. There's a lot of news at this moment in time that apparently that Manchester City move is what is going to fund a lot of what West Ham have going into this window. And if that isn't to happen and Leeds are to be the front runners and we do have that Premier League cash injection that you always get in that first year, someone like Matt O'Reilly would be a top signing because worst case scenario, you have to sell him. You know, when you go down, Matt O'Reilly is always going to give you a profit because he's such a good player. And I think you get it right in the midfield. There's obviously mass rumours about Leeds getting it right in the midfield in the transfer window. They're going to be targeting a midfielder apparently. And it's going to be a very sort of quiet window, but a really top window in terms of Leeds using that data analyst side of things, which Jordan Miles is going to bring to the party. But someone like Matt O'Reilly would elevate Leeds United in terms of that midfield. I never thought we got to sort of got to grips with a good midfield in the Premier League. And I think that's naturally where you get beaten and battered off the park. But I think right now, if Leeds had to get that spot on, that would elevate your chances of staying in that division. It's nice to see them looking at McAtee for 20 million quid. It's nice to see them looking at maybe Matt O'Reilly for 15 to 20 million quid as well. Let's hope that can get done. And obviously it's all the dominoes, the McAtee signing to Man City, then they'll have the cap hole. But if that doesn't happen, are West Ham going to be able to do it? Is it realistic? If they have then Edson Alvarez and McAtee in there, obviously we know Matt O'Reilly can play as a number 10. And that might be a little bit of a gap in the market, but he can drop deep as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below regarding these rumours. Really interested in what you think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, everybody. Check out the merch. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.